Good morning, everyone. Thanks to Neelakandan sir for this opportunity. It's always nice to connect with students of NEC. Um, Maybe I'll start with a brief introduction of mine. So, as you might have seen, so my name is Gauri Shanbagaraman. So, my friends and everybody they used to call me as Gauri. Uh, I am basically from Tirunelveli, near Tirunelveli. That's my native. But when parents are settled in Madurai, so when I was a student in NEC, I used to come from Madurai. Currently, I'm based out of Chennai. Maybe let me. Sorry, as you might have seen, I don't know in my profile shared. Let me just now share the. Just a minute. Let me share my presentation so that makes it easier. Is the presentation visible? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, fine.
Visible, sir,
It is
visible.
visible. It is visible.
Okay, great. So I passed out of NEC in the year 2002. Subsequent to that, I did my MBA. I mean, it's PGDM. That's technically it's postgraduate diploma in management at TAPI Management Institute in Manipal. Manipal is near Mangalore. Generally, when I say Manipal, people think it's in the northeast. So that's the Manipur. So Manipal is the name of a place. Um, then in the year 2015-16, that is after close to 11 years of work, I took a sabbatical. I did a management program in public policy in from the Indian School of Business. That's in Hyderabad. Um, I worked for 11 years after my MBA with Vedanta Resources, which is the metals and mining company, in different locations. Started in Rajasthan, then I was in Tuticorin.
நம்ம வேற ஸ்கிரீன் மாத்தினாலும் அதுக்கு சம்மந்தம் கிடையாது சார்.
So then I was in Southern Africa for 6 years in a country called Zambia. Uh, Most of you might know Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe plays cricket. Zimbabwe and Zambia were one country before independence. They were called as Rhodesia. And so Northern Rhodesia became Zambia and Southern Rhodesia became Zimbabwe. So that's where I was there. Then I was in Delhi. So currently in the last 4 years, I am in Chennai with Ashok Leyland. So, so my family, I live with my family. My wife works for an ATM manufacturing company. I mean, whenever next time you go to an ICICI ATM, you will see a name called NCR. They're the world's largest manufacturer of ATM machines. She works there. And I have two daughters. So I live in Chennai. So that's the brief about me. It was actually very interesting, when this when sir called me to say, can we do a webinar? My mind actually went through, even as I was preparing and when I was doing the dry run yesterday, my mind went to the year 1999. Those time we used to have, I don't know whether it is still there, when you're in third semester, we used to have one period in a week for it was called a project presentation or something. I'm still not getting the exact name. And we used to have something called the presentation. So I had a close friend of mine by the name of Kanappan. So me and him, we thought, generally, as you know, because it used to be a Monday, third hour. So as most of you know, weekends you go home. So Monday you really want to while away, But we thought, let's do something, this presentation session. No, of course, we are talking about 1999, so only facility available was on OHP. So we don't, but then OHP was used only for things like project presentation, So this is like a seminar type. So we thought we'll just speaking from, so the time when internet was coming. So we spoke a lot of things. about the upcoming interventions and the way internet is also shaping the world. So we had Mr. K.N.K. Shokulingam, who was, I think he was the director, he's no longer the director, I believe. So he was the principal. Right? Hello?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Audible. Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Audible.
Yes, sir. Go
Yes,
good,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So we had Mr. Yes, sir.
Audible,
Yes, sir.
very audible.
So Mr. Choklingam, after the end of this presentation, he came up. Fortunately, he was there. He just got into the class. Then he came and asked us, how many of you know what is internet? So can you imagine today, for a third semester computer science engineering student to come and ask what is an internet? In fact, I myself didn't know how to even move the cursor to the next line. Then I learned it only in my third semester C programming, lab. A friend of mine said, no, you enter etc. Then it will go down. So I think we have come a long way compared to that. Today we are talking about, in a webinar. See, what is very interesting, in this is, see, this corona crisis itself it came all of a sudden. But the beauty is our ability to respond to such kind of changes. And when I say our, it could mean everything. It could mean the government, it could mean a private sector, it could mean an educational institute. It has, enormously improved. Thanks again to technology, the way we have adapted, and then we are still managing things as what it would have been, had Corona not come. That's simply. It's simply mind blowing. I mean, we should really give ourselves a pat in the back that how we are continuously adapting to new ways of life and sort of improving. Having said that, I thought when Sir said usually to speak to the students, I thought, as I said, I'm not a great engineer to come and tell you anything on engineering. So I was thinking, so what should I speak? So maybe I thought I will give you a few nuggets. Maybe if you call nuggets of wisdom. Yeah, I mean, I'm also turning 40 years, so maybe you can assume that I'm old enough to give you pass on some learnings from my life, starting from time in NEC to where I am now. So I will sort of leave you with few thoughts at the end of this session. So that's how I have named this session as what they don't teach you at the institute. You can also take it as what they don't tell you, so not necessarily teach. I mean, but here I have both. As far as the context of this presentation is concerned, it means one and the same. Does everybody in this call you understand Tamil?
Yes, very. All.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I like
I think one or two.
Sure. So I like sort of. Oh, okay. Get into some Tamil.
Now understand the Tamil.
Okay, fine. So we'll connect. I'll keep switching between Tamil and English so that you guys also connect with it. So basically, my theme is to how do we make ourselves more productive. You guys are already smart. You scored good marks. That is why you are in a good institute. So how do we make ourselves better? That's what I would like to consider as a takeaway. In this half an hour we will spend. So don't worry. I just have 4 slides. Maybe it's showing 7. That includes this slide, and there is some final acknowledgement slide. So I have 4 slides, and each slide maybe I have 3 or 4 points I thought I will share with you. Okay, so I think you guys, if you have any question in any of the slides, I think you feel free to put in the chat, and then maybe I'll answer at the end of this presentation. Generally, if it had been a one-to-one, I would generally like to be more interactive, but I think here I'm also accessing it through a tablet, so I'm slightly finding it difficult to switch the screens. So let me run through the presentation first, and then I'll handle your questions. Right. So the first thought for the day is we're going to talk about journey being the reward. in Z Thirai and all, you are seeing that. It's a very beautiful scene. In the last scene when she's fighting the finals, she remembers her father, where he says the father will put the daughter in the canal of put she's under, and then he says, you will have to come up, you will have to swim, and then win. Now, that's very, very related to it. So now, what do we mean here? Connecting to your things. Don't look at a subject like in the question on the mark varuma, because unfortunately that's how we have been groomed. Now, when we were in 12th, also people would say, hey, in the chapter question, bonus public exam, so let's not study. So this time the question will come from next chapter. So let us study that to score good marks. I think that is gone. So don't approach anything like that. If this subject will help me to get the next campus into a job, because you don't know, especially in IT and all, things are evolving so much. So maybe some skill like when we were there, C++, I don't know, something we studied, but now I don't know whether C is relevant or not, I don't know. But the way things are changing, maybe what subject you will study in a third year to get a job might not be relevant 3 years down the line. So focus on your basics. That's what I want you to know. Focus on your basics. Don't try to take any shortcuts. Now, the first point, this is again, it struck my mind when I was preparing this presentation. That will exams continue to matter? Will marks be of very big relevance to us? I don't know. Just assuming that, let's say, this corona thing sort of extends, and then you guys will have remote exams and stuff. Maybe companies can come and say that we don't know how these exams went, so we will do our own assessment. It's already there. I think companies like TCS are already trying national level exams. Sorry, I'm not trying to mean that scoring marks in exams is not important, but don't get bugged up with that score, because I think nowadays you guys get 9 CGPA and things like that. I was even told like you guys are wanting for a certificate for this session. We are happy to give the certificate, but these things don't matter henceforth. It's about what you carry within yourself. That's going to be more important. So look at beyond the exam. So scoring marks, because a minimal level of proficiency in marks are important. Please look at how you are able to equip yourself much better. Because when we were there as students 20 years ago, I think getting a job when we moved out of NEC itself was important. But now I think if you're fairly good, you're going to get a job. I understand you get almost 70% of the eligible people get a job. So now in that case, then you cannot say, no, sir, you guys must have done the same thing. Why we should not do? I think that's not acceptable, because you will have to keep rising the bar. Right? Now, the next thing I'll convey is, it's about, which is related to what I have been speaking. Failure. I think our society culturally, we are not encouraged to fail. That's why as a nation, we innovate very little, because innovation comes with lots of failure. I think you have enough examples from Edison, how Edison failed 1,000 times before he invented electricity and stuff like that. There are so many things like that. I was just reading a beautiful, thing a week back. Unless or until we don't push ourselves to walk through the gates of, failure, we will never succeed. So, what do I mean by that? Again, don't think, especially when it comes to projects. I think when we were there, I know people, even there are projects are available for, you can go and buy your own project and show, or you take your senior's project, do some rehashing, change some codes, and then submit it again. I think these things are not at all going to help you. Even if you take something new, and if you are not able to take it to full conclusion, I think it's still wonderful. You will learn a lot. Me and my friends, for the last few years, a few years back, we started an initiative called Sippikul Muthu, wherein we are funding some final year projects. it gives, I think I should, commend the teams. There are a lot of, students who came out, and then they were trying to do a lot of new things, which is very good. And I believe all of you have the potential, all of you have the capability. When some of your team members can do, I'm sure you can do. When some of your classmates, can do, you can very well do. That is going to be key. Because, guys, see, again, going back to job perspective, the job of an engineer itself is going to change. We are talking about a lot of automation coming into manufacturing companies, artificial intelligence coming. So either you need to be a highly skilled guy, and for somebody who's very skilled, companies will go and hire a diploma guy because he's highly skilled. Like trying to fix, I don't know, because as most engineers, we don't even know how to fix a bulb or put a fuse. So skill-wise, those guys are better. And if we're talking about core knowledge, when we don't want to lose to the students from IITs and NITs. So push yourself. Don't think, okay, if this is enough, I'll get some 160 out of 200 in my score, or 180 I will get, and then let me clear the project. No, don't do that. Please push yourself. Push your limits. Only then you will know what you will be able to achieve. Now, you must have heard about a term called USP. It's called unique selling proposition. Very interesting. Like if you look at something like a Maggie. So what is the USP of Maggie? Somebody, if I can say, it's about the 2 minutes noodles, or it's about the branding. I think their USP is the masala. Somehow nobody is able to replicate the taste of that masala. Now, if you look at, let's say, IPL, the bash, the glamour, the excitement that comes with IPL, that sells. So what helps you to sell a product is called the USP. Now, I have consciously removed the word U, and I sort of, put SP. So, which is like what is going to be your selling proposition? And it's not necessarily all of you have to be unique. Because if a company comes, maybe they take 100 of you. It doesn't mean all of you are unique, but then all of you meet a basic requirement of that organization. So your selling proposition, boys and girls, I will tell you, it's going to be your knowledge. So don't, focus on, superficial things and try to, because Indians are always good in outsmarting the system, and we know how to get marks. Somehow we are excellent in that. So please focus on acquiring the right amount of knowledge. That is what is going to break through as you move ahead in your career. So if I have to summarize, what do I mean journey is the reward? Ultimately, as you can see from the picture, life is going to be sort of, it's long term. Whatever steps you take, it's going to come with you for the rest of your life. So please focus on building relationships, focus on, getting your basics right, challenge yourself, equip yourself with the right amount of basic knowledge. See, in organizations, we always use the very, very cliched, we can say, or a very beautiful terminology called the learning curve. Ultimately, what they are going to judge you is how sharp is your learning curve. Because when you start from 21 years of age, by the time you retire, it's going to be 37 years. And the world is going to change a lot in those 37 years. But what do? It's all about our ability to keep changing and acquiring new skills. And for your learning curve to become sharper, you need to have your basics in the right place. So that's the first part of, not the first part I would say, or rather the first, Gyan for the day. It's about journey is going to be a reward. Everybody is able to hear properly?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. If somebody wants to ask a question, should we allow that, or so that it makes it?
They can write.
They can write
in the chat.
Fine. Okay. Now
you can request them to. You can request them to, or you can ask them to write.
Sure. Please, as I was telling you, if you have any queries, just put in. At the end of this session, we'll sort of talk about it. Now, but now I want some of you to speak. So when you see this picture, what strikes your mind? Maybe some of you can answer. Is that allowed? Is it possible for them to speak?
Yes, yes, Gauri. It's possible. They can unmute and they can remove the mute and they can answer.
Yeah, sure. Does anybody want to say something? What strikes you when you see this picture?
Students, you can remove the mute and answer if you know.
Anybody?
Morning, sir. I'm Vignesh Shankar.
Yes,
Hello?
please. Good.
Am I
Vignesh.
audible?
Yeah, very much. Please tell me.
Audible.
This picture denotes me about a frog which holding a leaf to safeguard himself from the rain,
Okay.
and
Okay.
that's all I can see, and that's all
Sure.
I can tell, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure. Good. Thanks, Vignesh. So,
Welcome, sir.
yeah. So anybody else wants to give a try? We just
Sir,
spoke, no?
Sir,
Yeah.
mechanical. So can you hear me?
Narayanan from mechanics.
Yeah. Yes, Narayan, please.
Yes.
In the life we have to face lot of problems like the frog facing the rain.
Uh-huh.
We have to face problem.
Okay. Fine. Good. So rain problem,
Life is.
I thought rain is good. Fine. No, again, thanks again, Narayan. I think there are no right or wrong answers. It's all our interpretation, Art itself is interpretation. I'm sure, you must have seen. Yesterday I was watching that movie, Tola. There's a good joke with Prakash Raj and, Karthi, where they're trying to explain what a photograph means, So I thought when I looked at...
Gauri, 1 minute.
Yes, sir.
One message, Gauri. One message from Perumal.
Okay.
Seeing the rain and thinking what to do after rain.
Okay.
That is nice.
Yeah. I think you guys, you're open to interpret. It's my. I am the speaker. I have my interpretation, but there's no right or wrong. Life itself has nothing is right or wrong. Okay, so I thought வல்லவனுக்கு புல்லும் ஆயுதம் நம்ம படிச்சிருக்கோம் இல்லையா? So it's raining and maybe the frog can always go under the tree or bush or சின்ன leaf புடிச்சிட்டு is trying to sort of protect itself. And that's the message of this slide. We're talking about how we become resourceful. The word resource. I mean, you must have studied in your science, social science, or now. You have natural resource, which is like water, sand, minerals, gold, zinc, copper. These are natural resource. Sun is a natural resource. Then we are talking about human resource again. Human is also a resource. So if we have to go back, 400, 500 years back, if you look at how imperialism, started, those are the period where land was the premium. You needed land to do agriculture. I'm talking about 400, 500 years back. Then you wanted land to excavate, these minerals. And then once you excavate the minerals, from there you make the, equipments for war and stuff like that. So that's how imperialism even began, Then things changed. When you talk about 20th century, as things got independent. So land was no longer a commodity. Then people talk about knowledge was becoming a resource. Knowledge became a resource. Classic example: countries like Singapore, Korea, where very little land. Japan for a long extent, but they have become so powerful in the last 30, 40 years. So it's no longer about the availability of a resource, but it's about the optimal and efficient utilization of resource. Now that is what is going to define how countries will grow, how individuals will grow, how companies will grow. Okay. You should read a beautiful book called The Bonsai Manager by Gopalakrishnan, former chairman of the Tata Sons. I'm not sure whether he was a chairman, but he was on the board of Tata Sons. It's called The Bonsai Manager and what managers learn from nature. I would just leave it and I don't want to get into the details of the book. but it is about how we become resourceful and efficient, and nature has a lot to teach us. ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா சொன்னோம்னா சொல் புத்தி செயல் புத்தின்னு சொல்லுவோம் நம்ம தமிழ்ல. It's about not only what you learn but what you also hear from others. That is also going to be helpful, and that will make you smarter. It's not necessarily you yourself know everything, but how you are able to leverage those around you and make yourself better. So never feel afraid or shy to ask for help. I know telling this is very easy, but when you are in students, I don't know how many of you stop your teacher while they are taking the class, he or she, and then ask for a doubt, or how many of you are openly willing to ask any guest who's coming to what is what, because it's again very not natural in our culture, because we always been told to obey. Hey, வீட்ல அப்பா சொல்றாரு கேட்கணும், அம்மா சொல்றாங்க கேட்கணும், ஏத்து பேசக்கூடாது. I think somehow culturally we are like that, so that is why we also don't open up. But I would urge you friends, please become a bit of extrovert in that. You need to interact with your peers, interact with your seniors, your faculty. The word peer is nothing but your classmate. எனக்கு ரொம்ப கவுண்டர் இன்ட்யூட்டிவ் இருந்துச்சு. ஏன் நம்ம இந்த வேர்டு போடணும், ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கு இதை சொல்லணுமா? I'm sure they will talk to their friends, but then I put this word deliberately, think thanks to my interaction with like Neelakandan sir, KG sir and others, because I'm very closely connected with NEC ever since I passed out. So almost it's been 18 years now, which means 4 sets of batches of students are gone. Considering rather I would say 5 rounds or 5 generations, if I can use the word. One generation is 4 years. A lot of changes happened. Like I hear people don't even interact a lot with their friends, a lot with their like the day scholars are not knowing the hostelers. I myself experienced. I think once I had come to college and then and I had to go to Tirunelveli. My in-laws are there. So it was evening, and then sir said, "No, why don't you take the company bus? College bus." So college bus I went. So there's a student near me. So I introduced myself and I was talking to him. So suddenly he, his stop came and Tirunelveli he got down, and then he didn't even say bye. He just got down. It was very strange for me, because generally, because that's a very basic courtesy, right? But somehow, it struck a point, somehow, somewhere we're missing, it's again, even if you look at our, something like marriage, like 20-25 years back, when I remember when I was in, school days, அப்போ வந்து தாம்பூல பையன்னு சொல்லுவோம். கல்யாண வீட்டு இருந்துச்சுன்னா where we all, the entire family gets together and makes a தாம்பூல பை. So you talk, you play cards. Now, if I had looked even in the last 10 years, things have changed in my own family. When I go, people are because in the marriage hall, everybody's so busy with taking selfies and multiple posts. You come, take your photographs and then go away. So somehow the social bond itself is sort of slowly, dripping away. Now that has an impact in college life also. So, my humble request is, you guys should really, start interacting well with your mates. Because again, now the batch size is also more, and thereby comes a lot of thoughts. You can be a project, it could be an exam. That's where you bounce the thoughts. Seniors, definitely, there's no harm in, you can see nowadays there's nothing like, let's say something like a programming language, maybe a +2 student knows much more than even a final B student. So, so you can help each other, you can really, push others. Like, you might have seen the movie Nanban, where they show, the Vijay comes as a smart cookie, and then when he's thrown out of his class, he goes and sits in a senior's class. That's very much, I think in some institutes like Vitslani, they allow, you can even take classes of your, senior grades. Again, I talked about how to push the limits, interacting with your seniors, and you should try to get a lot from your faculty also. For them, being a faculty is also again difficult, because things are evolving rapidly, so they have to equip themselves better. So unless or until you take a lot from them, then you're missing out a tremendous amount of support which you can leverage from this 3 group. The next point is about alumni, and I have a personal interest in this. it's my request to 100 of you who are listening, when you get back to the college, push the college and try to get involved with your alumni when you're a student. Somehow I think in NEC we do it reverse. The alumni runs the alumni cell. I mean, some of the best run alumni associations in this country are not run by alumni at all, because alumni have their own issues. They have their career, they have their family, maybe some are running their own business. So the alumni cell needs to be run by the students. I mean, my own example, TAPI, they have a fantastic, alumni relationships. The alumni get a lot of support, in terms of their own career building and everything, but everything is being driven by the students. And in engineering college where you have, 500 students every year, which means at any point of time you have 2,000 students, at least, I say you can have a team of 10 or 20 people who can build this thing. Because it's not going to be easy, because NEC is in the 36th year and you have almost 20,000 alumni spread across the world, connecting with them. Because that is going to, when you start interacting with them, that is going to throw open a huge world of opportunities for you. You can even learn what are the kinds of organizations which are there, and then come back to college to place himself and say, why don't you, allow us to, maybe do some projects, do some internship. Because when I was a student doing my MBA, the students were asked to come and present that which are the 20 companies they want to come for the campus. I'm using the word 20 because in B school generally the number of students are quite less, 110 or something. To that level you can go. So my request to you is, guys, you go, and then push for yourself to get involved. Now, we are talking about how the first point we talked about how we are, you can leverage your peers, seniors, seniors both within the campus and outside the campus. The next is about yourself. OD, I hope you all know OD. What is OD? On duty. Please say no to that. And what do I mean by here is, there is enough you can do by the time you get here. The amount of time you will get. There is enough you can do. Stretch yourself. When I was a student, I still remember, like, when the way they are putting this is, there will be one group who are into sports. Like, they will, whenever they want to go for that university meet, they will put OD and they will go. There is another group who is into NSS and other clubs. They will put OD and they will go. There is another group who is into the fine arts and this thing. This is how it is. It's like beautifully divided, But when I went, passed out of NEC, and then when I went into my MBA, that's where, again, I'm again taking an example of business school is, again, strength is very limited. So both batches put together only 200 people. But then everything used to happen. You have, dinners and parties till 11 o'clock in the night, and next day morning 9 o'clock there's a presentation, still people are ready. There is sports, there is n number of things we used to do. So that is the time we realized, oh my God, we would have done the same thing while you are in NEC. So stretch yourself and involve yourself in everything from, Amazon, what they say. I don't know how many of you know what is behind Amazon's, the logo, It starts with A and ends with Z. Amazon delivers everything A to Z. Similarly, you guys need to get involved in A to Z. That's what builds your personality. It's more important, especially when some of you who are aspiring to go abroad to study, your marks will carry only a certain portion of the weightage. Your knowledge will, in other things will carry certain portion of weightage. They are looking for good people, all-rounded individuals. So your personality building happens only when you get involved in everything. Guys, this period, you will never get it. Again, our faculties like Neelam sir or Pudya sir used to say, this is like the golden period. Again, my humble request to you, and I'm not saying anything against, I don't know how many of you in this 100 are, taking the daily bus from Tuticorin or Tirunelveli or Virudhunagar, Guys, I think you're wasting the best portion of your life in traveling in the bus. And worse is when you don't talk to the person who's sitting next to you, So, I don't know, there are pressure from your parents or whatever it is. Please utilize this. You'll never get back this kind of time. Okay. This is the best period. Try to get the maximum out of it. Now, another good, a beautiful thing that has happened, in the last few decades is about the way the world is getting flatter. There's a good book called "The World Is Flat." I think by a famous economist called Thomas Friedman. Those of you who are interested, you can read. So, what does he mean? Is it's about ease of opportunities, democratization of opportunities. When I was a student, when generally as the CAT exam happens in the December. So when we were in 7th semester and I wrote CAT, the application, prior that I enrolled in an institute called IMS. So that those days IMS had only 2 centers in Tamil Nadu, one in Chennai and one in Coimbatore. So even to write a mock exam, I need to go to Coimbatore. And we didn't have enough people, who are even aspiring. So again, I remember my friend Kanapan, so I used to tell him, you lock me in the hostel room door. So open the door after 2 hours, Then he will come and then say, then we will evaluate, go through it. And even the application form, I still remember, our friends stayed, what is the theater? I am forgetting, behind the old bus stand, near the Bombay stores. So they stayed behind it. So that's where in the morning, in the night we were filling that CAT application form. And when we had a doubt of how do you, we had a doubt in the application form, we didn't even know how to approach. So, when we fortunately we had access to emails and we did it. But today everything happens in a click of a button. They are on Facebook, they are on LinkedIn. So it's no longer an excuse for any one of you to say, no, sir, we come from a rural place, semi-urban place called Kovilpati, that's why we didn't have access. I think that excuse you can no longer give. You might have heard about MOOC, massive open online courses, various online platforms. I understand some of you yourself have enrolled, like you have edX, Coursera, Udemy, multiple things are available. InterviewBit, for programming especially, a lot are available. So if you feel there is one area where you like to know, maybe you're not getting enough support in the institute, you can very well enroll yourself in the course from the best of the faculty in the world and then equip yourself. And those certifications really carry a lot of weight. So that is how you really leverage the power of technology. And, you can compete with the best in the world. So to summarize here, what do we mean by being resourceful is how do we leverage the best out of others and for yourself. So others, I talked about people surrounding you, your peers, seniors, faculty, alumni. Then you're talking about the environment, we talked about MOOC, and we talked about yourself. And then unless and until you are willing to give the best of yourself, you won't be able to get the best of what the world has to offer. So moving on. So this was something quite favorite to me. So I thought if I had to talk about one skill, you guys know what it could be. It's again, decision making is something that happens to us every day in our life. And the picture beautifully, it talks about, we connect the mind and the heart. So maybe I will ask a question, maybe some of you can answer. So how many of you, the decision to join NEC was yours? நீங்க எடுத்த முடிவா NEC join பண்ணணும்ங்கறத? Maybe some of you can answer.
Sir, it's my choice.
Yes, sir. It's my choice.
You can be truthful. I will tell you.
Sure, true.
I will tell you, for me, it was not my choice. I can tell you that. So at least you have a company, so now you can be truthful.
Sir, same here, sir.
Okay,
it's not my choice.
It's not your choice. Okay, good. At least we have one person who gives me company.
Sir,
nice, no?
Sir, let me tell you a truth. My actual aim is to place on CIT, sir.
Okay.
Coimbatore College.
Okay.
But unfortunately, my family members forced me to put the choice. Could I speak in Tamil?
Please.
Little stammering problem, sir.
Feel free.
Yes, sir. சார் உண்மையை சொன்னா வீட்டில் இருக்கவங்க தான் சார் என்னை வந்து NEC ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சாய்ஸ் லிஸ்ட்ல போட சொன்னாங்க. நான் வந்து ரெப்யூட்டட் காலேஜ் தான் போட்டிருந்தேன். என் மார்க்குக்கு வந்து கோயம்புத்தூருக்கு போயிருக்கலாம். எனக்கு என் ஃப்ரெண்டு தான் சொன்னான் ஏன் இப்படி பண்ணேன்னு சொல்லிட்டு. என் வீட்டில் தான் சொன்னாங்க ரொம்ப வெளியில விட மாட்டாங்க சார். எனக்கு ஆக்சுவலி அலர்ஜி ப்ராப்ளம் இருக்கு, அதனால விடல. ஸோ என்இசி சூஸ் பண்ண. எனக்கு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் காலேஜ் முதல் நாள் பார்த்தோன்னே ரொம்ப இரிட்டேட் ஆயிட்டேன். ட்ரூ சார், இது நான் இன்னும் யார்ட்டுமே சொன்னதில்லை, ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ்டையும் சொன்னதில்லை. என்னடா இந்த காலேஜ்லயே படிக்க போறோம்னு சொல்லிட்டு அதுக்கப்புறம் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சம் பழகும் போது ஓகே இதான் நம்மளோட பிளாட்ஃபார்ம், இங்கே தான் நம்ம வந்து நம்மளோட ஸ்டாண்ட், ஐ மீன் நம்மளோட சக்ஸஸை கொண்டு வரணும் முடிவு பண்ணிக்கிட்டேன் சார் நானே.
Sure.
That's all, sir.
Very good. I think thanks for speaking. Fine. I think we will see. My intention of asking this question is good that you have decided. See, decisions are
Yes, sir.
every day we decide on smaller things. Like when we were students, a lot of guys used to come from Tirunelveli, so they were day scholars, so they will exactly take that 7:40 a bus. Some bus they will that time they will put for the breakfast before Nalten Pudur. So later on bus breakfast potan. So then we had some faculty like our Max Perumal sir and all used to be there, who used to give a lot of gyan. When people come late. So so that's a decision for somebody. Morning the bus will this bus stop, or because I think the bus again it's not sure. So that again based on the mood of the driver. Some drivers will stop, some drivers will not stop. So it could mean small things like again when we are in hostel, again every Monday evening, because Saturday Sunday we will be at home, so you get good food. Then Monday evening idli sari varuma illana Nalten Babala. I don't know whether sir is allowing you to go to Nalten Budur. So when we were in the old hostel, we used to go to shortcut Nalten Budur and the Mukku road la poi paratha saapidom. But there are some days suddenly the chutney in the hostel used to taste good, so which means it's a wrong decision you have taken. So some days the hostel is bad, and if you decide to go, then again it's a good decision. So in the way, decision is something we take every hour, if not every minute. From small decisions, there are big decisions. Like I mean, after this college, I think one of the biggest decisions is when you want to get married, unless and until you are not chosen your partner. So again, what is right, what is wrong? That's what this picture says. There's a little bit of heart, there's a little bit of mind. So that's a beautiful LIC advertisement where a young boy asks his uncle, என்ன சித்தப்பா உங்களுக்கு என்ன மாதிரி பொண்ணு வேணும்னு சொல்லிட்டு, then he says, மனசுக்கு பிடிச்சவங்களை கல்யாணம் பண்ணிக்கோங்க, மிச்சதுக்கு LIC அப்ரோச் பண்ணுங்கன்னு. But these things have a lot of message. All decision in life is going to be a combination of your heart as well as brain. And when you start working, it's become all the more important. That's the most critical skill. As you grow, because you're not going to do as first slide la sonna maari, you're not going to do everything yourself. So the first few years of your life will go in trying to work with others, and as you grow up in the career, it's all about taking decisions. So is there a right solution in the world? Now நம்ம max exam solve பண்ணிருக்கோம், we solve in science papers and everything, so we are always tuned, our mind is tuned towards right solution. But unfortunately, in real world, there are no right solutions. My dean in MBA used to say, management is always about and. It is not about ours. It is not about this or that. It is about this and that. Multiple things will work, but you will have to make a choice. So the two most critical things, according to me, in decision making, I know this in this slide will be slightly heavy, but I thought it is important for you to know this at this stage. There are two critical things. It is about evaluating options and incorporating perspectives. Maybe if you want to note down also, you can note down. It's about evaluating options and incorporating perspectives. Now, what do we mean by evaluating options? Which means multiple things in front of us. Like our friend was telling, like you want to go to CIT. CIT was an option, the NEC was an option, MEFCO was an option. So how do we evaluate? There are multiple factors that must have gone into his mind. Distance from hometown, what is the fees, what is the placement rate, maybe how is the hostel food, multiple things. So which means what? He has spent time to know about all these colleges. And this is what you are going to do in every stage of your career. Now, that takes me to the next point, and then we will relate all the points in this slide. You need to build interdisciplinary expertise. Now, this is something that is catching up in India. Universities have started offering, like in US, wherein, let us say you are an engineer. What is preventing you from learning law? Because every business is bounded by a law, right? There's no harm. Let's say somebody is doing an instrumentation, biomedical engineering. There's no harm in learning about some courses in the field of medicine. Or if it's going to be, let's say, in for different industries, say pharma, you want to be an IT guy in financial services. What is wrong in you knowing the basics of finance? I'm not sure how much of that flexibility is available within NEC because you are bounded by university curriculum. But what I hear is at least in fifth semesters onwards, you can choose electives of multiple domains. Again, going back to the previous slide, if the university is not able to offer you, please utilize MOOC to really build courses which are not directly linked to your domain. Because at least when we were students, I think in the first year we used to study all common sciences, engineering, and even second year a lot of common papers. Because even for our guys who are in IT, you are going to give solutions to various industries. It could be in insurance, it could be banking and financial services, it could be healthcare, so it could be manufacturing. So there's no harm in you knowing the basics of those. Now that will help you to give the right solution. Now, when you're talking about, because I told you evaluating options, and next is I told you incorporating perspectives. Now, how do we incorporate different perspectives? Because it means different people have different views on what is right and what is wrong. For that, again, let's go back to what we learned at the very first thing. It's about building relationships. So unless or until you are able to work along with people, get their views, else what will happen? That's what they will say. So people might not volunteer to come and help you. Hey, this is wrong. Why don't you do it that way? So it's you, as if you are the manager, you are the decision maker, you will have to sort of take it along. And best example for you, in your college setup is in whatever things you are involved, how you are able to take the perspectives of all your friends. Okay. Now, I think there are, there are multiple competencies. If you Google, there will be n number of competencies which are, linked with decision making. But I think there are 4 critical competencies. According to me, there's nothing like right or wrong. It's not exhaustive also. You're talking about, one is logical reasoning. When you are evaluating options, again, going back to our friend's example, finally, it should be dispassionate. It is not what your father felt or mother felt. What is right? You should do an analysis. So which institute gives the best jobs, best program, best knowledge, then you should choose that if that is available to you. So that is why in your aptitude test, why they are testing for logical reasoning, because that is the key skill. You are able to, without your emotions, you are able to take decisions. Unfortunately, now we are in a WhatsApp era, where you get some stupid forwards, and that also we end up believing, That means we are not applying our logic behind it. And the other important skill is data handling, because you will have a huge amount of data. Again, taking your own college as an example. Now, if the college decides now how this course is going to go, they will have to again, get feedback from you, analyze your scores. So it's about handling multiple data. And data handling, the link thing is statistical analysis. Whether are you able to analyze trends out of it? Because based on the trend is what you will decide. Okay, it is simple. If you have a vehicle and வீட்டில் போனீங்கன்னா நம்ம பெட்ரோல் போடுவோம், எந்த பெட்ரோல் பங்க் நல்லா இருக்கும்னு யோசிப்போம். இல்லைப்பா இந்த பெட்ரோல் பங்க்ல போனால் மைலேஜ் கம்மியாக கிடைக்குதுப்பான்னு. So that is a hearsay. But how do we validate the decision? So maybe you should put petrol 10 times and then you should literally note down and then say is there a trend which shows that if I use petrol from this bunk, maybe the mileage is coming less. Then you can incorporate other information. No, maybe whenever I put petrol in this bunk, maybe I'm going for a long ride. That is why the mileage is more. So this is how you build even in your daily life. One thing I really feel happy that I did the MBA is what it gave me is Every decision in my life, I am able to convert it into a decision-making flowchart, into a value, and then I'm able to decide. That skill. If I can leave every other skill. The 2 years of MBA thought was that skill. But I thought I should tell you that so that it's not necessarily you have to wait for an MBA to do an MBA and to develop that skill. I mean, engineering college is an ideal place to develop that skill as well. The last point, I used a technical word called design thinking. Don't ask me what, and I myself, is not very much aware about that. But what it helps you is it's on innovation. We spoke in the very first point about, innovation. This is something we're very, very, very poor as a nation. I had a history teacher in school. He used to in a very jovial and sometimes in a crude way, he used to put, நம்மால் என்ன பண்ணுவான், எந்த மிஷின் வந்தாலும் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் அதை கழட்டி போடுவான், அது எப்படி ஓடுதுன்னு பார்ப்பான், அதை அவனே திரும்ப செய்வான். I don't know whether we can use the word re-engineering for that, but it's not re-engineering, it's about trying to copy. That is why today, we are not in many, we are only a good service oriented. Even if we take IT, which is which is taken India to the globe, we are in the lower end of the value chain, which is basic IT services. We are not in the products. Today, when is the next, Google or Amazon or, Facebook is going to come out of India? Or if you look at even my own industry, if you're talking about vehicles, the moment I say a top vehicle, what comes to your mind is Volvo or Mercedes. We are not talking about Tata or, truck or whatever it is, or Ashok Leyland. Yeah. So we are still doing the catching up. So for that, how will it happen? If today even we are talking about India being in the developed world, I don't think so. India can never become the top economy in the world when none of our institutes are in the top 200. The Prime Minister has a lofty ambition, $5 trillion economy, but because it has to come from here. China is a classic example. If guys are interested, you should look at the number of Chinese universities which are in the top 200. 20 years back, what is the number? And now what is the number? It's a drastic change. Many areas, electric vehicles, I know China is going to be the leader. And even if you look at, e-commerce space, Alibaba is the leader. Look at mobile phones. Everything is coming from China. It's no longer that we are only good in making jokes about, how Chinese products are inferior. We'll put jokes, WhatsApp memes, and then do nothing out to change that. But they have raced ahead of us. Don't think, I am talking about such a wide thing. No, guys, it's you and me who are going to make the difference, not somebody else. So if I have to just summarize, my favorite slide, if I have to say, decision making, it's a combination of art, science. They say gut feeling, what is your gut feeling? So gut feeling also comes with a lot of data. So you need to, in life, there are not going to be any best solution. There are only going to be right solutions for that time. So for that, you need to have a cross-functional expertise. Don't be very narrow-minded. Be good, in statistics, and innovate. Always push yourself to come out with innovative approaches to find, problems. To find solutions to problems. Sorry. I have the last slide. So I think here I'm going to talk about very few things. We spoke a lot. I myself gave you very high funda stuff. But then the most simple things which you should know, which is going to be useful for you right from day one, is Excel and PowerPoint. My first job, when I was in the first day in my job, first few days we had an orientation program. First day, I had to send out offer letters to newly recruited BE graduates from campuses. So my boss told there has to be 3 copies. The original has to go to the candidate. One has to go to the personal file, and there is one copy which we need to take, which the employee will sign on the day he comes. So I need to make 2 photocopies, and then this was the first job. Imagine BE, MBA, and this is what first job. So I was waiting 6 o'clock, and then suddenly in the call, what happened? I said, then what is the issue? I said, I don't know how to operate a photocopier, which is a Xerox machine. Then he said, why? And I said, I don't know how that's the truth. So I was waiting for the peon. That time there used to be a peon, and then the peon left at 5:45, and he gave me a typical blasting. What is the point of your education if you can't learn from him how to operate a photocopier machine? So if you had to say, if you ask me, what is the first thing you learned in my job? How to operate a photocopier machine. So these kind of simple things can help you a long way. So I'm not going to tell you how to operate a photocopier, but Excel and PowerPoint are going to be very key. Unfortunately, we're giving a lot of importance to programming languages and stuff, which is important, but there is no, I don't know whether there's a curriculum on MS Office, but it's very important, especially Excel. It's a very powerful tool. Even many companies, they even run their payroll, salary processing in Excel. You can do multiple things, guys, up to macros, you can please learn. It's my humble request. Doesn't matter whichever field you are, whichever branch you take, please learn Excel and utilize Excel in every of your projects. PowerPoint, it's more about not the animation, because today's PowerPoint, it comes with a lot of inbuilt features, but it's about how are you able to present the data, how are you able to present an information which is captivating to the audience. That skill you will develop. I don't know how many of you watch Karthik Kumar stand-up comedy. There's a beautiful comedy show called Xerox Engineers. I think that also he talks about how engineers end up doing only Excel and PowerPoint when they start work. So if you're free, please watch that stand-up comedy by Karthik Kumar. The next is on written communication. Oral communication, I leave it. I think there's a lot of emphasis on in the campus also, where they're going to talk about, how do you make the presentation for your GD and things like that. Written communication is, it's very important in the sense, not about for the, beauty of the language you use. It's not about that. Generally in context, what happens in an organization context or anywhere, you speak with the person, you are then agree, and then a mail is just written to document whatever we have discussed, which means the context is available with the person who reads your message. Whereas in an increasingly virtual world now, we don't know after Corona how it's going to be, where people are going to work remotely. It's very little time you will have to explain what you have written. So which means what you write itself should convey everything. Again, I'm not stressing more on the kind of language, but it's about are you able to convey. It's like a story. For example, let us say, this machine got broke down at 10:20, and then the spare part will come at 1 o'clock. Suppose if you write a message like this, it's incomplete. Then your manager would like to know, was it giving any sign of breakdown? Why was it not attended to? When was the spare part ordered? When it will come? Where is it currently? So there are multiple things. Or when it talks about language, it can even convey totally different things. Like our own office, we talked about an employee wrote that we need to do things to improve his morale. So then the context I know, but that was not we talked about. We are talking about people not being enough motivated. So then we said, you want to improve his morale. So a single E at the end totally conveys different meaning. Moral and morale are totally different things. So and one thing I find, even amongst people who do post graduation, spelling mistake is just not acceptable. Guys, don't worry whether you come from Tamil medium and whatever it is. And I find the level of written communication is very poor. I can be very open. Please do whatever it takes. Maybe daily read some newspaper or write simple communication, but it should mean well. This is one point which engineers, we don't focus more on. It's about basic understanding of finance. But I believe it's very important. The moment you enter your work, it's going to be there for you. Something like a personal finance, when you start learning, you should know what is a provident fund, what is a gratuity, what is your tax, where will you invest your money, what is a mutual fund, some basic understanding of that. 2, understanding of cost. Especially in manufacturing, guys, and I'm not sure how it works in software, especially at the early stage of your career. But if you go to any manufacturing, manufacturing, I mean wide. It could be, auto, it could be mining, it could be anything. When you're running a shift, you will be asked you will be asked to man the cost that goes into the shift, which means what is the consumption of power, what is the raw material you use, how many manpower has come. So that is how you compute how efficiently you are running your shift. So ability to understand cost is very important. Suppose you get into a project-based company like a Larsen and Toubro or a power plant erection company, then there they talk about, that's where financial engineering comes in terms of what is the payback period of investing this money, in how many years this project will give back whatever you invested, or even road construction, multiple things. If you have an option to study in as an elective, please do like that, or else please enroll in any of the good MOOC courses. Have a very good understanding of finance. Very important for all of you as engineers. Last point, but I feel the most important point, it's about interpersonal relationships. Now, first we talked about building relationships, and now it's we're talking interpersonal relationships. And let me connect this with all the other slides. We talked about building perspectives. Now, how do we build perspective? At your level, how do you develop that skill? Please get involved. It could be anything, participating in various clubs and forums, tours, it could be cultural or sport festivals, and I want you guys to get involved. Unfortunately, which I've been telling the faculty also, when we were students, Neelandan sir was heading Rotaract at that point of time, NSS, I'm not sure. He used to lead us, but then the execution was always with us. It could be the CSE forum where Dr. Ramar was there, conduct tours. But now I'm finding it's I don't know whose mistake, but the faculty are mostly involved and students are taking a backseat, which is just not acceptable according to me. Because that is where you learn the skills. I will tell you how. Especially when you conduct a tour, because when we went for Bangalore, because at that point of time 500-600 rupees was a big money. Not everybody will be able to connect because people come from different backgrounds. Then some of you join, you put money for your friend. That's where you build a skill called empathy, which is very important. Tomorrow when you are managing teams, it could be in software anywhere. That is how you understand the pain points of every individual. We again talked about perspectives. Again, in the same tour, we went to Bangalore. Bangalore has 20 things to see, but then you have only 3 days. So how do you arrive at those 7 or 8 spots? Where will you see? It's about agreeing to people, listening to everybody's views, and then arriving at a consensus. Consensus building, that's what they say. Interaction, maturity of interaction, it comes. Again, I would like to give you an example. It happened 10 years back when I was in Tuticorin. One of your seniors, he said, we want somebody from your company to come as a chief guest. I said, okay, I will arrange. Then what happened is this gentleman was not able to come. Then I said, I will arrange somebody else. Then I called this boy and tell, no, when he will not come, somebody else will come. Then this boy came and told me, sir, can you talk to my principal? I said, why? I will talk to your principal. You should go and talk to him. Yes, you asked me for a chief guest, I arranged. But now I am changing, it's you have to talk. This example, what taught me is, maybe our students moving away from your faculty, no. You should be bold enough to go and talk to your principal. If Choklingam sir is there, he still remembers last time when I met, he still remembered that argument I had with him when we were conducting UFONAC, that, the company, the institute doesn't allow us to go and ask for sponsorships. So we had a good argument, I would say a healthy argument, that why we should do. Ultimately, college didn't allow, that's a different matter. But then that is the kind of relationship you should have with your faculty, because it's about ideas, it's not about individuals. And it can be anything, sports festivals, that's where you build bonds. All these points I talked about in the other slides, you will be able to incorporate in your own life if only you build your interpersonal relationships by getting involved in multiple things. I think I would like to leave with you with one final thought. Please enjoy whatever you do and improve the life of those around you. I think I will again thank, Neelakandan sir for, incorporating this seed in us. You should make the life of those around you. When I say those around you, it can even be your classmates. If somebody is not able to, understand a subject, you please teach them. It can be anything. This is a very beautiful picture. You must have seen in WhatsApp also, how you need to support those around you. I think that's it from my side. So I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank, when I came to this presentation, I got inputs from some of my friends, both within NEC, outside NEC, some of my colleagues, and also my wife, who helped me fix some things in this tablet. And finally, thanks, sir, for this opportunity. Hope this was useful, guys.
Actually, we have to thank Gauri. Yeah, wonderful talk. Actually, we enjoyed. I also enjoyed because they are very.
Hello.
What do you? Hello.
Hello, sir. Voice is that?
Hello, Gauri.
I don't know.
கேக்குதா இப்போ?
எனக்கு
கேக்குதா Gauri?
கேக்குது.
Okay. Thank you, Gauri. We have to thank you.
No, anytime, sir. For the college, I will do. My videos visible?
So visible.
Yeah, sure.
Gauri, students, if they want to ask some questions, they can ask.
Yeah. I can see.
You can ask them to unmute and ask questions. Hello?
Yes, sir. I don't know. I can see. Maybe some of you can ask because I am seeing a lot of questions are written. Students, any one of you want to ask?
Students, you can unmute and you can ask questions now. You open your audio and ask your question.
Maybe let me see some if I'm able to. Vignesh Shankar, I think he has asked some. Hello, anybody has any questions to ask? Feel free.
Dhanarajan is asking question.
Yes, Dhanarajan.
Audio தெளிவா இல்ல.
Sir, I have.
கேக்குது சொல்லுப்பா.
Sir, recently I asked a question in a message. Which is best in decision making?
புரியல.
Which is best, sir? Product based company or service based company?
See, there's nothing like every career option is good.
Product based company or service based company is best, sir?
No, there's nothing like right or wrong. You will have to choose.
Product based company or service based company, which is best, sir?
நீங்க மியூட் பண்ணுங்க, நான் பதில் சொல்றேன்.
மியூட் பண்ணு.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think there are no right answers here, நினைக்கிறேன். What is of interest to you, you will have to choose.
Okay, sir.
Generally, with my limited understanding of the IT as an industry, so the generally product-based companies comparatively generate lesser jobs than service-based companies. So maybe the requirement entry criteria could be much more stringent. Again, நம்ம சொன்ன மாதிரி you should really focus on on your basics. Well, you should be thorough with your subject. That will help you get there. But again, the choice is yours. Anybody else? Anything to ask? இப்பதான் நம்ம படிச்சோம். You don't feel shy to ask. You should.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yes, please.
I am Vaidyanathan.
Yes.
Shall I talk in Tamil?
பேசுங்க.
Sir, இப்போ வந்து
காலேஜ்
இந்த லாக்டவுன்ல வந்து நாங்க இப்போ வந்து நிறைய ஆன்லைன் கோர்சஸ் தான் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். இன்டர்னுக்கு வந்து நிறைய நாங்க வந்து தேடிட்டு இருக்கோம். இப்போ வந்து உங்களால ஏதாவது இன்டர்ன் வந்து ஆஃபர் பண்ண முடியுமா? இந்த ஆன்லைன்லயே
இல்ல ஆன்லைன் இன்டர்ன்ஷிப்ஸ் வந்து எஸ் இப்போ யூஸ்வலாக பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த சீசன் ஆஃப் ஏப்ரல் மே இஸ் வென் லாட் ஆஃப் இன்டர்ன்ஸ் ஆல்சோ கம். பட் அன்ஃபார்ச்சுனேட்லி இப்போ இந்த கொரோனா பிரேக்டவுன்னால இப்போ எங்களுக்கே வந்து லாட் ஆஃப் ரெக்வெஸ்ட் ஆர் கம்மிங். ஓகே, ப்ரிடாமினென்ட்லி அகைன் as I said, when you என்ன மாதிரி மார்க்கெட் அனாலிசிஸ் அந்த மாதிரி இது ஆன்லைனில் பண்ண முடியும் ஃபார் an industry like us. Maybe IT they can offer. But you might have to wait. Maybe first year could be slightly early. Okay, maybe for third year students அந்த இதில் யாராவது அப்ரோச் பண்ணாங்க, or when I say if not, when you have the required skills, நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி டேட்டா அனாலிசிஸ் ஸ்கில்ஸ், மார்க்கெட் ரிசர்ச் ஸ்கில்ஸ் அந்த மாதிரி இருக்கவங்க அப்ரோச் பண்ணாங்கன்னா we will be sort of able to support.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So somebody, Annaraj, question கேட்டிருக்காரு. question. So what kind of students you are looking for? What makes a difference between the leader and boss? Okay, generally in the question வந்து Vignesh has asked, what makes a difference between the leader and boss in any sector? Okay, I think we should not get lost in this verbatim. If you Google, there will be a lot of things available. Leader shows the way, a manager. I think generally they say leader and manager. Okay, I think the fundamental skill, be it a manager or leader, is about ability to lead, inspire the team. Get the team along, and your ability to inspire. Again, I have a habit of quoting movies. Movies make a lot of inspiration. If you guys have, there's a movie called Invictus. It's about how Nelson Mandela used the 1995 Rugby World Cup. நீங்க Invictus then போட்டால யூடியூப்ல போட a lot of videos will come. It's leaders is all about inspiration, because they are not going to do the work. They are going to get better work done from others. So behavioral traits தான் வந்து லீடர்ஸ்க்கு very important. The second important trait is about walking the talk. They themselves should know, what you tell, what you preach, you should follow. I cannot say that you have to be punctual, and then I myself come at 9:30 for 9 o'clock class and it doesn't work. Okay, அதான் intellectual honesty ன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. There's a word called intellectual honesty. So what you commit, you also deliver. Now those are some of the finer attributes. So my request is, don't get caught in this verbatim of leader, manager, boss. More or less it remains the same. Let's not get into very top level stuff as of now. So as a HR, what kind of students you're looking for in your company? Team na sonna mari, I think when you look at competencies, every company has certain competency traits based on their business model, based on the the life cycle of every business. But having said that, today increasingly, from a period of last 20 years wherein somebody was good in some aptitude were getting in, but different things companies started testing. Like even if my own company, we not only do assessment. From last year we introduced a game. It's the gamification or concept, wherein some of our behavioral inputs are fed into the game, and when you play the game, it gives a score. So that also helps. But ultimately, what tilts in your favor is how well do you do the interview. Okay. Thankfully, we have moved a lot of way. Like when I remember in 2005 when we went to NIT Jaipur, ஒரு கெமிக்கல் இன்ஜினியரிங் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்டை இன்டர்வியூ பண்ணிட்டே இருந்தால் ஒரு 2-3 கொஸ்டின் ஆன்சர் பண்ணவே இல்லை. அவர் ஒழுங்காவே பேசிக் கொஸ்டினே பண்ணல. So when we asked him, what did you prepare so that we can ask? Then he said C++. I said, no, you are a chemical engineer from NIT and you are appearing for an interview for a mining and metallurgy company. And when I ask you, what did you prepare? He is saying C and C++. So and the mari people got literally good. They just wanted to get a job in IT company, and then they're wasting their 4 years in other branches of engineering. But I think we have moved from that phase. Now it's all very much interrelated. And the kind of IT engineers whom we employ as an organization, it's tremendous. Because even a truck today, I was told, coming with 16 to 17 sensors, whereas a truck manufactured 20 years ago, it didn't have that much. So we are talking about electric vehicles, like passenger car. Like you see a passenger car, how much of its digital content is there. So everything is getting highly interconnected. So even to get into a car company, maybe you might have to have good knowledge of electronics. Maybe some programming language will also help. So get your basics. That's what, again, ultimately when we test, so how good you are technically is going to help. நம்ம skill and knowledge பத்தி பார்த்தோம். So don't get carried away, but your aptitude is important, but that alone is not going to get you a job. So Vignesh Shankar has seen Invictus. Good. So if not full movies, you can now see TED Talks are there, even some portions you can catch. So anybody else question? How do we make our attitude? என்ன கொஸ்டின் கேட்க விரும்புறீங்க தமிழ்ராஜ்?
ஆட்டிடியூட் கேக்குறது.
தமிழ்ல
How do you
கேளுங்க.
make our attitude?
தமிழ்ல கேளுங்க.
கம்பெனி போனா எப்படி இருக்கணும், எந்த மாதிரி பிஹேவியர், ஆட்டிடியூட், இந்த மாதிரி சப்போஸ் ஒரு கம்பெனி போனோம்னா.
ஒன்னு நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி we become more responsible because the company is run with someone else money. இங்க காலேஜ்ல நீங்க ஃபீஸ் உங்க பணத்தை, அதாவது மீன்ஸ் உங்க பேரண்ட்ஸோட பணத்தை கொடுத்து நீங்க படிக்கிறீங்க. You are responsible for yourself. You join a workplace, definitely your responsibility increases because you are working with someone else money, that they are going to give you money to deliver a job, and it could mean life, some cases it could mean life and death for somebody else. You are a mechanic engineer, ஒரு லைன்ல இருக்கிறீங்க, சேஃப்டி கன்சர்ன்ஸ் நீங்க பார்க்கணும் உங்க டீமுக்கு, or you are developing a software, the software is going to run on a critical application. So the ramifications are wide. So responsibility is going to increase tremendously. And basic things and attitude when it comes about, we are talking about, punctuality, commitment, what you say are you able to deliver, the effort you put, that's more important. People should be convinced that you are putting the right effort. Output is important, but it's not that output will come every time. We will all have our failures.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Gauri?
Yes, sir.
So it's a wonderful session.
Thank you, sir. So
what you carry yourself, the message is very strong.
Correct.
I think the students enjoyed your session. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. என்னோட email ID இருக்கு. If you want anything at any point of time, please feel free to reach out, or in LinkedIn or anything. So சொன்ன மாதிரி I ultimately have fun. So enjoy. This is the best 4 years you will ever get. சரிங்களா? So போங்க. Don't be afraid and enjoy the time.
Okay, Gauri.
Okay. Thanks. Thanks for the comments also. Thank you, guys. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you, Gauri. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
ஹலோ ஷேக், நான் பேசுறது கேக்கா? ஹலோ அக்ஷயா ஷேக் வெளி போக மாட்டாங்க. ஹலோ ஷேக், பேசுற கேக்கா தம்பி? ஷேக் அக்ஷயா. ஹலோ ஷேக் ஆமா, வெளியில போனாலே கட் ஆயிரும்ல. ஷேக் தான் ரெக்கார்ட் பண்றாங்க. ஷேக் மெக்கானிக்கல் இல்ல பேச மாட்டேங்கானே. டேய் ஃபீட்பேக் ஃபில் அப் பண்ணணும்டா தம்பி. நான் பேசுறது கேக்கா? ஷேக்
இப்போ கலர்ல எடுத்தாலும் இதே அளவு